Don't you just love it when a team embodies the city they play in? And nobody does that more than the Phillies. This John is an off-the-rails septum making rolling stops at every Wawa, blaring, "Move closer to your world, my friend." Anybody? Ba 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 ba. No? You guys got to get better.
Tony said John.
Also, is it possible for the play wristband of Russell Wilson to be too much? It's the fewest production of points per play on a band ever. Let's go around the horn.
That's an around the horn stat pack.
It is. And we're wondering why Russell Wilson needs a monocle when he gets into the huddle. It's like he's got a microscope. There are no rules with this Phillies team, and even if there were, would they read them? No, they wouldn't read rules. Toying with Atlanta, crushing Atlanta. Castellanos, the merchant of bad news for somebody, and that somebody was Atlanta this series. Back-to-back multi-home run games, skookling Atlanta. The pitching on point all series, which is a plus for Phillies. And once again, to the LCS they go with that brazen stratospheric confidence that every Philadelphian carries themselves with. And look at the shirt, worn in the sanctuary. They will not stop stepping on this Atlanta team. I guarantee you that. Pablo Torre, around the horn to you. This run, this team, this John, those Phillies.
Yeah, Tony, these are the best vibes in the baseball playoffs,
really
by far. And you could start with the statistics, the idea that the Atlanta Braves had one of the best offenses in the history of this sport. And that, of course, here come the Phillies scoring twice as many runs, 3 times as many home runs, making, on the part of their pitching staff, a clear statement, on the part of their offense, a clear insult, right? Like, they are the team that can have fun in all of the ways that the Braves were too uptight to enjoy. Like, they're trying to shut down clubhouses across the sport in Atlanta. In the Phillies clubhouse, they're laughing at everybody. And in the city of Philadelphia, they are dancing on their own. They are dancing to Robin. They are having so much fun. And so the stats are there, but it's the vibes, Tony, that are unimpeachable.
Justin Tinsley, what are you seeing from this Phillies team?
With all due respect to the players, Tony, this is honestly about the fans.
Really?
Like,
Okay.
did you hear them in there last night?
No.
It sounded like deleted scenes from the movie 300 last night. That's how loud the roars were. There's a fearlessness that injects into this team, and that is an advantage that only they have with respect to the Diamondbacks, the Rangers, and the Astros. This is a Philly thing, and honestly, man, when I was coming here today, I was listening to one of my all-time favorite albums by Beanie Siegel, Philly Legends, called The Reason. It's gritty, it's grimy, it's explicit, it's stick your chest out music. Those are those fans, the Broad Street Bullies. They got in Atlanta's head. They took that Bryce Harper trash talk personally. And look, if they can win 8 more games, if they win the World Series, the fans are a huge reason why that happens.
Tim Kalisha, what are you seeing from this Phillies team?
You know, as strange as it seems, as much as they love their Eagles, as much as they embrace the Flyers, who really haven't done anything big since the 70s, that is a baseball town. It is a strong baseball town, and the Phillies haven't done a ton themselves. But anytime they're good, anytime they're close, that noise, that vibe, as Pablo said, I think it's legit. We hear a lot about teams that think they have the noisiest arena, the noisiest fans. And some of those come off a little hollow once you go there. Philly's different. Philly's got its own weather for baseball, which is going to be a factor for Arizona and maybe one of the Texas teams if the Phillies keep moving along. So, I think all of that is legit. Harper's stare is legit. This is a difficult team to play right now.
And Lindsay Theory, are the Phillies the most dangerous and now the favorite to win the World Series?
Tony, check the tape. Told you a week ago.
Yeah, you got that one right. You got that one right.
I covered the Eagles a week ago, and there was a lack of buzz. I said, what's going on in Philadelphia? Hello, the Phillies. That place last night, watching that, was electric. You wanted, as a fan, to just be drawn in. And honestly, as someone impartial, you just want to cheer for this Phillies team because everything about them is exciting. 9 home runs in the last 2 games. That's tied for the most in that span in MLB postseason history. So this team, exciting. Bryce Harper is electric, and you just want to get behind them.
I'm sensing an evolution of thought here, which I appreciate because I've been muting panelists on this show for decades now, because we've been on for so long, when they insult Philly fans all because of some hopped-up Santa Claus line that's just a joke at this point, and nobody remembers, and nobody even really does the fact-checking on it, recognizing now what type of fan the Philadelphia fan is. On the other side of the field last night, though, Atlanta, the crushing disappointment. Let's go. Again, at the hands of their division rival. Another 100-win team in baseball out. You could take a shot at the format in the league if you want, but more MVP candidates doing nothing in the postseason. This wasn't just format. This was the Attaboy series. Even during the game last night, Atlanta players could be seen not handling the heat from Phillies fans about it all well. Strider, who's now lost 3 games in 2 postseasons to Philadelphia, says don't blame the format. But manager Brian Snitker said, I told them they have nothing to hang their heads about. Tim, is this really a nothing to hang your heads about elimination here for Atlanta?
No, I don't think it is. And we've talked about this, and we talked about it with Giannis and how the Bucks are supposed to feel when they don't win a title. And you don't have to mourn for 3 months when you don't come through. But at the same time, when you're the Braves, and you were much better than the Phillies last year and much better than the Phillies in the regular season this year. And you had an offense unlike any other in baseball, leading in home runs, leading in everything, averaging 4 extra base hits a game. They had 4 extra base hits in 4 games against the Phillies. All those bats went silent. And when that happens, yeah, you do need to hang your head for a little while.
Lindsay Theory.
Tony, this isn't Little League. In the immediate aftermath of a loss like that, you can't say that there's nothing to hang your head about, because your goal is to win championships. That's the only reason why you play baseball, any professional sport. This team becomes the first in MLB history to win 100 games in back-to-back seasons and lose to the same team in the postseason. At least in the immediate aftermath, you have to be disappointed. You have to express disappointment in how you guys perform. Maybe a week later you look back and say, oh, it was actually okay. But ask the 2001 Mariners, who remembers having a great season and not winning a title.
Pablo Torre.
But that's the thing, is that the truth of it is not something anybody wants to hear, not even the team that lost, I think, because it's an indictment of the game you're playing. The indictment is what we're doing now is not the sport you know for 162 games. That's why the Mariners of 01, to Lindsay's point, are in the dustbin, and that's why right now these Braves need to hang their heads. The reality, though, is, Tony, the truth of it is, and this is what Snitker could say, look, there are no upsets in the baseball playoffs. That's what Joe Sheehan, the very smart baseball writer, says. Everyone can get it. It doesn't matter if you're the greatest team of all time.
So you're putting this on the format that baseball has elected to go to, and now we're hearing the commissioners say we're going to stick with it. But all these 100-win teams losing here, you're putting this on the format.
Tony, 162 to 5 to 7. The math is so obvious. It's just what we've opted into, and so you can't complain about it once you're in.
Justin Tinsley, can you? Can you complain?
You can complain, but nobody wants to hear you complain. When you have back-to-back 100-win seasons and you lose in the divisional round in back-to-back years, oh yeah, to a divisional opponent, yes, that's disappointing. Matt Olson led the entire league in home runs and RBIs. Didn't have a single one of those in this series. Ronald Acuna, the MVP frontrunner in the National League, went hitless 3 out of the 4 games. MVP in this case stands for must vacate playoffs. That's disappointing. And you know what? You got to watch a divisional opponent potentially win the World Series. Ooh, that's going to be a cold winter. Spring training is a long time away.
But Justin, you're pulling back on me. When we sat down, you were going all in on this team because of how Philadelphia got in their heads. The whole attaboy clubhouse.
They opened that can of worms. Yeah. They did that to themselves.
The second, we showed you that photo of Arcia on the bench, turning around and looking at Philly fans. The second you saw him do that, you knew this was not going to end well for Atlanta. All right, we've been horned.
Don't bark up that tree.
We're going to talk football now. KC 19, Broncos 8. Offensive molasses last night. Again, look at the play wristband for Russell Wilson. All that for under 100 yards passing, 2 picks, and how many batted balls at the line? Manute Bol playing defensive line for KC? What's going on here? Kansas City needed Butker to go off, kicking 60-yarders and such to secure the win. They only had 1 touchdown on Denver's D, the D that led up 70 to Miami a few weeks ago. So, Lindsay, let me ask you this. Is Kansas City all good on offense right now?
Tony, you're going after Russell Wilson's wristband. That's low-hanging fruit. All right, the Chiefs offense. It's a Thursday night game, so let's just take that into consideration. Thursdays are always a little bit wonky, and I didn't think this would come out of my mouth, but I am concerned about this offense despite it being led by Patrick Mahomes. We've seen more of Taylor Swift than we have of the Chiefs receivers, particularly of concern. Kadarius Toney, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. This offense is not getting into the end zone. They rank 17th in red zone touchdown percentage 54% of the time. And what's really concerning is coming up on their schedule is the Los Angeles Chargers, who actually are outscoring the Chiefs. They rank 5th. The Chargers do 27.5 points per game. So this Chiefs defense is really carrying them, and their offense has to figure it out. They have to figure out how to get more guys involved. It can't just be Patrick Mahomes.
Well, you think it's to go to the chalkboard or the tablet and figure it out and not make a move at the trade deadline in 2 weeks?
Making a move would be the most sound decision, but it's also like, who are they going to go out there and find? They do need to definitely scan the market, make some phone calls, see who is available, and see what can happen. Because right now, I don't think if you're looking at Patrick Mahomes, there's a lot of trust in his current receiving
Pablo
core.
Torre, you see that KC offense operate last night? What you think?
Yeah, not so worried. Not as worried as Lindsay. I am more worried about the fact that Russell Wilson seems to be like, it's like when you do your taxes on an iPhone. Like, no, like it's way too small, man. Like, this cannot possibly be something that you're comprehending. And meanwhile, on the other side of things, the good news for the Chiefs is that their defense looks great. They're 5-1, and I know we're looking beneath the win-loss record, of course, but the Chiefs' defense is what I'm worried about. I am not concerned about a healthy Patrick Mahomes and a healthy Travis Kelce, who looks healthier now. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy if I'm Andy Reid right now.
Justin Tinsley opening up the hood on that offense. What do you see?
I'm putting the Chiefs on the clock. 18 days. You just mentioned it.
Okay.
18 days is the trade deadline. They need to make a move for a wide receiver. Maybe call the Broncos about Jerry Jeudy. Sure, I'm sure Steve Smith would agree with that after those comments last night. But they need somebody to stretch the field. It cannot be Travis Kelce and a bunch of guys out there. They need a wide receiver, and they need one quick.
There is a small downside to winning a Super Bowl after you've lost Tyreek Hill and didn't replace him. You suddenly think, we don't need to do that at wide receiver. We can devote all our assets elsewhere. But it's very hard. It puts way too much, even on Kelce, the greatest tight end ever. Can he do this for 17 games and then playoffs? I don't know. That's putting a lot on him and Mahomes. They can trade for a receiver. I think they will.
Mike Evans is the name that's out there, but Tampa started out a lot hotter than a lot of people thought, right? At 3-1, a big game for them this weekend. So maybe he's not available. Maybe Tampa holds on to him. We'll see. Taking a break here, buy or sell on the other side. Number 8, Oregon at number 7, Washington. This is the first time in this rivalry they've met while they're both in the top 10. Doesn't that shock you? Lindsay Theory, I go to you. You're buying national title implications, Heisman implications between Penix and Nix. Could this be an elimination game for the loser?
Buying that it's a national title, buying that it's a Heisman, buying that, yes, big implication, but let's go on Michael Penix, because this is his big opportunity, not shrouded in that late night schedule. He has the chance to show the entire country in the daytime what he's about. He's number 1 in passing yards per game, number 1 in total offense, and number 1 in yards per attempt. So this is a big opportunity for him to show everyone across the country, when the light's still out, what he's all about.
Well, you touted your baseball picks earlier in the show. The football picks have gone a little differently for you, Lindsay. You want to make a pick in this game, please?
University of Washington, UW, that still means 0 national championships. I can't go with the Ducks.
Tim Kalisha, how about you?
I'm going to buy that this Heisman race is a great send-off for the Pac-12. You got 3 Pac-12 quarterbacks. Who do you like? The Auburn transfer, the Indiana transfer?
All right, you've got jokes. You've got jokes.
In this case, I like the Indiana transfer. I like Washington. I think Oregon's rushing stats a little fraudulent with their strength of schedule. Give me the Huskies.
Justin Tinsley.
3 games of over 400 passing yards already. That's most in the FBS. 35 completions of over 20 yards. That's second in the FBS. Michael Penix Jr. is great. And as Lindsay was saying, this is really his first opportunity to showcase to the entire country This guy is a top 5 draft pick, probably. So, yes, this is national championship implications. This is Heisman front-runner implications. And I think he shows out on Saturday.
Pablo Torre.
But to Tim's point, right, the top 20 teams in the country, 7 are from the Pac-12. That's a pretty good conference, turns out. They should do something about that. But in terms of the Bo Nix of this, Tony, I want to shine the spotlight on him because he has a bit of the Steph Curry problem here. When Steph and the Warriors are winning all these games, Steph wasn't playing fourth quarters. Yeah. So true is Bo Nix. Only 14 passes attempted through the last 15 minutes through 5 games. That's why his stats aren't nearly as good because his team, Oregon, has been blowing people out.
Okay, well, are you going to be the one person to go with the Ducks in this matchup?
I will say that the Penix is not mightier in this case. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
That somehow Woody Page got into your body just for a second to deliver that line.
I like the Pablo.
We'll move to Colorado Stanford. That game is tonight. It's 8 o'clock local, 10 p.m. Eastern. Stupidest thing ever invented in life. That's a quote from Deion Sanders about the game time. Again, 8 o'clock local is the stupidest thing ever invented in life, Tim?
No, the stupidest thing ever invented was the college all-star game they used to play in football a little before these panelists' time when the NFL champion would play college all-stars. And in the 50s, they played by college rules, which meant the NFL team had to play single platoon. They couldn't substitute on defense. Big problem.
Okay, I'll take your word for that about this start time.
That said, Deion's wrong. This is great. There's nothing else going on. There's no baseball tonight. There'll be 10 million people watching Colorado Stanford. Let's have it.
Justin Tinsley, stupidest thing ever?
Look, traffic circles, mosquitoes, late college football games, all in the college football playoffs, the stupidest things ever invented. But he had a quote in that interview that really resonated with me. He said, "What are we supposed to do with these kids until 8 o'clock?" This has been a season full of quotables for Deion. But as a father of a 9-month-old, I often, too, find myself asking that same question. What the hell am I supposed to do until 7:30? Because this little guy has too much energy for me. So I loved it.
Pablo Torre.
I think Deion is obviously wrong. The stupidest thing ever invented in life is the non-Japanese toilet because we're barbarians, it turns out. But I would say that he's not so far off because maybe the second stupidest thing ever invented in life is in fact daylight savings. Like time zones don't actually make sense, daylight savings specifically. I'm going to walk outside here today and I don't even know if the sun's going to be out. So he's not totally off, but yeah, there are stupid things.
Lindsay theory.
Stupidest thing ever. It's the crack between your driver's seat and the center console. What goes down there? Okay, but this is a close second. Yeah. I can attest as someone who lives in Los Angeles, traveling to the East Coast a lot. You guys, I cannot stay up for 10 o'clock kickoff. That is wild. Deion Sanders, welcome to the Pac-12. Welcome to the fight that has been.
Welcome.
Thank you, Larry Scott, once again for everything you did to the conference. You left them with a whole lot of rubble.
You got Colorado or Stanford, Pablo?
I got Colorado.
Tim Kalishaw?
Buffs, you know that.
Tin?
The fighting Deion.
Lindsay.
Colorado.
Taking a break. Theory. Tinsley. Showdown next. Some high-end theory and some low-end theory. Lindsay and Justin in Showdown, good luck. Rangers, Astros, Game 1 Sunday. We know Verlander on the mound for Houston. Is it Montgomery? Is it Eovaldi? Is it Max Scherzer? Bruce Bochy says he's encouraged by the progress in the shoulder of Scherzer. How should Bochy play this? Can you trust it could be healthy Scherzer, Lindsay?
This is a tough one. The Rangers are on a roll. They've won all 5 of their postseason games, sweeping both series. Can you trust Scherzer? Well, you sure traded for him. You exercised his 2024 option. If you can't trust him now, when can you trust him? So you got to go with him if he says he's ready.
This is why you traded for him, Tony. This is why you traded for him. Look, I don't need you to be the ace. I just need you to get 5 solid innings and give it to the bullpen, which has been pretty damn good this postseason. I think you got to give it a shot.
When we talk about predictions on this show, we often give mutes. The day of those trades for Scherzer and Montgomery, Justin, you said Jordan Montgomery, who's been an ace for Texas this year, would pay dividends. You're getting the bonus now.
Long live Jordan.
Lindsay, you weren't even on the show at this point. Tough for me to make a ruling there. But here we go to Showdown 2. How West Virginia took the lead on Houston in the final minute last night. This is with the game on the line. On 4th down, And you thought it was the end of the game, but how Houston took it back in the final seconds, a Hail Mary. Justin, did Houston win it? West Virginia blow it, but not batting it down.
Houston definitely won it. One of the bedrock rules of this fine company, ESPN, said by Tom Jackson on a Hail Mary, you knock it down.
Knock it down. Yes, Lindsay.
West Virginia lost it. Knock it down. That's all you have to do. Knock it down.
Justin Tinsley. 30 seconds of fair stuff.
I want to take some time to shout out Bowie State University and Morgan State University. Recently, a spread of violence overtook the Morgan State University campus, and they weren't allowed to have their homecoming, which is a heartbreaking gesture if you're a student. Bowie State opened their campus up, their homecoming up to Morgan State University. I saw the clips on Instagram, and I thought it was a beautiful display of HBCU unity. So shout out to Bowie State and all love to Morgan State.
Well done, Justin. And Hampton having their homecoming in a couple.
Be there in 2 weeks, baby. We'll be there.
The H this
Hampton's
year, right?
real
You took the H over Howard? Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it stays in our gym. It stays in Holland Hall for sure.
Feeling cute. They say, all right, that's going to do it, folks. On the 71.5 hour break. We'll see you Monday around the horn.